Master of self-discipline. In a small village at the foot of the Himalayan mountains, there lived a young boy named Kisna. He was quiet, kind, and always curious about the meaning of life. Unlike other children, Kisna did not enjoy games or fun. He enjoyed sitting under a tree, watching the sky, and thinking deeply. One day, a group of monks passed through the village. They wore orange robes, walked barefoot, and spoke gently. Kisna was amazed by their peaceful faces. He followed them to the temple and asked, "Can I learn from you?" The chief monk, named Guru Padma, looked at him and smiled. "If you wish to walk this path, you must have self-discipline. Can you wake up at 4 in the morning? Can you live with no comforts?" "I can," Kisna replied with confidence. From that day, Kisna left his home and joined the monastery. He was only 12, but his heart was strong. Every morning, Kisna woke before the sun, cleaned the temple, and meditated for hours. He ate simple meals, wore rough robes, and slept on a hard mat. He never complained. Other young monks found it hard. They missed their families. They wanted to play. But Kisna remained focused. He believed that discipline was the key to peace. One day, Guru Padma said, "Kisna, you have grown. It's time to test your discipline." He gave Kisna a task: go to the forest and live alone for 1 year. No talking, no visiting people. Just meditate, pray, and observe your mind. Kisna bowed. "I will do as you say." The next morning, he walked into the deep forest. He found a small cave by a stream. There, he began his journey of silence. Days were hard. Nights were cold. Sometimes he felt hungry. Sometimes he felt afraid. Wild animals howled. Rain fell. But Kisna never gave up. He sat in silence each day, watching his breath, his thoughts, and his emotions. He learned how anger rises, how fear grows, and how peace returns. One day, while meditating, Kisna saw a vision. He saw a fire burning inside him, the fire of desire, fear, and ego. But he also saw a cool river, the river of wisdom, compassion, and calmness. From that day, he practiced even deeper. He let go of anger. He let go of fear. He let go of selfish thoughts. He became light like the wind. After 1 year, he returned to the monastery. His face was glowing. His eyes were calm. His steps were gentle. Guru Padma smiled. "Kisna, you are now ready to teach. But remember, a true master is always a student." Years passed. People from far villages came to learn from Kisna. He taught them not through words, but by example. He showed them how to wake early, how to meditate, how to control the mind. One young boy asked, "Master, what is the greatest power in the world?" Kisna replied, "Self-discipline. With it, you can do anything. Without it, even the strongest man is weak." Another day, a rich man came and asked, "Can you teach me peace?" Kisna said, "Yes, but first give up your desires. Wake at sunrise, eat once a day, and meditate for 5 hours." The man tried but failed. He returned and said, "It's too hard." Kisna smiled, "Peace is not hard. Your mind is soft. Make your mind strong, and peace will follow." Over time, Kisna became known as the master of self-discipline. He wrote books, shared wisdom, and guided thousands, but he never grew proud. He cleaned his room every morning. He ate simple food. He meditated under the same tree where he started as a boy. One evening, an old woman came and said, "My son is lazy and angry. Can you help?" Kisna went to her home, spoke to her son, and taught him how to breathe, how to wait, and how to listen to his heart. After many months, the boy changed. He became gentle, hardworking, and loving. The mother cried and said, "You saved my son." Kisna bowed. He saved himself. I only showed him the way at the age of 80. Kisna sat under his favorite tree, surrounded by his students. He closed his eyes, breathed deeply, and said, "Remember this, self-discipline is freedom. It leads to peace, love, and truth." With a gentle smile, he passed away. Like a leaf floating on a silent river, his story was told for generations, and many boys and girls chose to walk his path. And in the hearts of those who learned from him, the name Kisna remained forever as a symbol of discipline, peace, and truth. After the peaceful passing of Kisna, his students sat in silence under the tree where he last rested. The wind blew softly and the leaves whispered as if they carried his final words. Each student felt a deep sadness, but also a great responsibility. Among the students was Arjun, a young monk with bright eyes and a pure heart. He stood up and said, "Our master is gone, but his teachings live inside us. We must carry his message to the world." The others nodded. They knew Kisna's wisdom was not meant to stay in one place. It was a light that could guide millions. They decided to travel in different directions, each carrying Kisna's lessons of self-discipline, peace, and love. Arjun went north to the snowy villages near the mountains. He walked barefoot, spoke kindly, and lived simply just as Kisna had taught. In a cold village, he met a boy named Tenzin. Tenzin was always angry, shouted at his parents, and refused to study. Arjun sat with him each day, taught him to breathe, to sit still, and to listen to his own heart. Weeks passed, and Tenzin changed. He became calm, started reading, and helped his mother with work. He said, "Master Arjun, you gave me peace." Arjun smiled. "Kisna gave it to me. I just shared it." Far to the west, another student, Mira, reached a big city. People there were busy, running, shouting, and working day and night. Mira sat in a public park, crossed her legs, and began to meditate. At first, people laughed. Some took photos. But soon curious minds gathered. One woman asked, "What are you doing?" Mira replied, "I am listening to silence." The woman sat down. Then another. And another. Soon, 20 people were sitting with Mira, learning to breathe, to pause, to feel peace in the middle of noise. They called her, the silent teacher. But Mira always said, "I am only a student of Master Kisna." In the south, student Anaya reached a village where people were angry and divided. Families fought. Neighbors hated each other. Anaya built a small hall called the House of Calm. She invited everyone, rich and poor, young and old. She taught them Kisna's lesson: discipline is not just for you. It's for the peace of all. People learned to speak with kindness, to forgive, and to wait before reacting. Slowly, the village transformed. One day Anaya sat with the elders under a tree. They said, "This village was dark before you. Now it shines." Anaya closed her eyes and whispered, "Thank you, Master Kisna." Even across the ocean, Kisna's wisdom traveled. One student, Narain, went to a far country where people knew nothing about monks or meditation. He lived in a small room, ate bread and rice, and worked as a helper at a school. The children there were wild, fighting and screaming. Narain didn't shout. He didn't punish. He simply sat on the ground, closed his eyes and smiled. Some children laughed, but after a while they began to copy him. Each morning, before class, they sat together, closed their eyes, and breathed for 5 minutes. Slowly, their behavior changed. The school principal was surprised. He asked, "What magic is this?" Narain smiled. "No magic. Just self-discipline. Kisna's way." Years passed, and Kisna's students continued to share his path. They wrote books, started schools, and built centers called the Way of Kisna. But they never used his name for power. They lived as he taught, simple, humble, disciplined, and full of love. One day all the students, now teachers, returned to the monastery where Kisna had lived. They sat under the same tree, now old, with branches wide like arms. They shared stories, tears, and smiles. Each one had helped thousands. But none claimed to be a master. Arjun stood and said, Kisna's voice still speaks through us. We are his students forever. And as the sun set, they all closed their eyes, breathed together and felt the peace of their master's spirit in the wind. The world was louder now, busier, faster. But in many places on quiet mats under trees inside hearts the light of Kisna's discipline still shined.